Today we're taking the train out towards Surrey, which is about 30 minutes southwest of London, to a place called Warbirds. Although this is one of the last places we're visiting in London, it's the highest on my to-do list. I've been looking forward to coming here. Brooklands was one of the first airports in England and later became a racetrack. BMW and Mercedes still use the area for driver training. The museum has almost everything. There are vintage cars, some iconic London buses, and for the aeroplane nuts, a great collection of old planes not flying anymore, including the Concorde, but we'll come back to that later. When you first come in, you go through the old racing cars with different colours. Now I don't know the names of them, but if you do, then well done. But there's plenty here to keep the petrol heads going for a while. So the non-technical description of this is a two-cylinder front-mounted contraption. After leaving the racing shed, we move into the more day-to-day driving cars, including this famous one. Anybody know what it is? Picture it with wings coming out the bottom. It's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the original car from the movie. Well, at least one of them anyway. Some of the original horseless carriages. Here's an old Austin. Like most museums, a lot of these are still in working order and get taken out for special events. Like most cities, the bus service started out with the old stagecoach. Then as technology changed, so too did the buses, until we got the bus that everybody recognised from around the world as the London bus. They featured in many movies and TV shows, and who can forget the 60s hit On the Buses?
Oh, good morning, Blackie.
I see you've bashed that bollard in the high street again. More complaints from the council, eh? Look at that, look. You must have bashed that blooming bollard right over this time.
Yeah, well, not to worry. Come over here. See that? I bashed it straight on the way back.
Typical, isn't it, eh?
What a great show of the times. Anyway, the museum has a great collection of buses as they developed over the years, and many are still in working order. In fact, this is where a lot of TV and movie people come to when they need buses for their shows. You may be wondering why there are red ones and green ones. That's because the red buses were the ones that ran around the City of London, and the green ones were the ones that worked in the outer areas like the country. Here's a bus that has been stripped down so you can see how everything worked at the time. There's a team of ex-London bus employees that work to keep these buses in a brand new condition all the time. They will even rebuild the bodies in the traditional way. The quality of the restoration work is second to none, and these buses look like they are brand new. But the reason I'm here today is to see the planes. Almost everything here today are planes I have never seen before apart from on TV. If it wasn't for places like this, old planes would only be a memory or an old faded photo in the back of somebody's cupboard. Most of these planes were built right here at this airport, or places like this, then shipped into here for assembly. You can go into most of them, and there will be somebody happy to tell you all about them. No, this is not the hostess. This aircraft is the Vickers Viscount, a cargo version. A lot of these planes have still got their full instrumentation and power on, something I've never seen before. And you can sit in the main seat, the pilot seat. We can't leave, we've got to wait for him to take off first. This one's in for maintenance. I think the nose wheel felt a bit flat on landing. I bet you there's heaps of people that would love to have this thing sitting in their garage. The Vickers Vc10 in its day was like the dreamliner of today. It's seen better days from the outside, but inside it's perfect. Its last owner was a sultan from somewhere in the Middle East and was personalised with a few comforts.
Slip in, as the actor said, computer joystick here, and the little nose wheel steering, which was like the umbrella one here, and over there was done away with, and the boomerang one there. These are all television screens. So these are analogue instruments, and the more engines, the more instruments. Sultan of Oman there. Those are people that are old enough and long enough in the tooth.
No crammed seats or having to sit up for a 12-hour flight here. Well, not in this section anyway.
He never married. His father was a real nasty piece of work. So, and you can either, when you come back, you can either come back and come out the front steps, or there is a set of steps at the back you can go down and walk down.
You'd be wondering, won't you? The Royal Crapper?
Well, that's why all Highland dancing is up on raised tables. You look at the front two rows, they're all women. And you.
And this is where the not so important people sat.
Well, of course, the world is.
But my main reason for coming here is to see the Concorde. But first, a look around the outside of it. The little wheel at the back was to protect the tail from ground strikes during takeoff and landings. In case the aircraft lost power, this wind generator would drop out and provide power to control the aircraft. This is the fuel control panel used during refuelling. Each gauge is for one tank. The wheels and braking system. These would get red hot after each landing. The Concorde landed at about 280 kilometres an hour, give or take a bit. The tyres would be replaced after about 6 to 8 landings. The engines have been long since removed. You can see here one of the reverse thrusters are closed. These are used to slow the aircraft during landing. We're now entering the aircraft. You can see that this has not got the pretty trim like most aircrafts have. Some of the bodywork has been removed so you can see the airframe and how little there was holding you in at twice the speed of sound. The timeline helps to put things into perspective. Concorde could only carry 100 passengers, and a ticket may have been around $10,000 from London to New York, and it would fly that in a little under 3 hours. When it flew to Sydney, it broke the record and did it in just under 17 hours. And this is an idea of how the passengers would sit in comfort. We even get to sit in the seats while we watch a short video.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't
Welcome
film.
aboard Concorde. My name is Mike Bannister, and it's my great...
After the video, it's off to the pointy end, the business end. Then it's out the front door and we collect our little certificate to say that we've been on the Concorde.
So I'm still confused. Why did they stop flying? Is it just because...
We were lucky. We also got the chance to go and have a look at the proper Concorde training simulator. And no, they didn't let me have a go. Probably for the best, or I would still be sitting in it. The last shed we went into was the Warbirds. This is the Hurricane with its 12-cylinder Rolls-Royce engine. Now that looks like a piece of handy advice. This is a replica of the 1918 Vickers Vimy. This flew to Australia in 1994 to reenact the original flight. This is the Wellington Bomber. It crashed into Loch Ness in 1940 after engine trouble. It was found by a group searching for the Loch Ness Monster. It was recovered in 1985. Now this is the Harrier Jump Jet. It was the first jet to be able to take off vertically. The Falklands War of the 80s really put this aircraft on the map with what it was capable of doing. Ah yes, I remember it well.
Get out of the way!
Cramped, you know?
You'd have to lose weight.
Now, let's see, can I get it started? So where's the key? Or maybe I need to push start it.
Are you familiar with aircraft cockpit controls?
A little bit.
Good.
Only as an amateur though.
Oh, good. You can tell me about it then. Well, obviously, what you've got there in your right hand, that's the main control column. So I'm sure you know what that does.
Yep.
Left, right, up and down.
The trouble is there's no wings out there to see anything.
Very little in the way of wings. You're right. They're quite tiny.
And the throttle is the big lever down there. That's it. So normally it's right hand on the control and left hand on the throttle. That's the other way. Rudder pedals as usual. LP, that's low pressure fuel cock. Then just in front of the throttle, just in there, that one with the round head on it, that one, yes, that controls the angle of the exhausts. So that's the one you operate when you want to go into vertical takeoff and landing mode.
Oh yeah.
And apart from that, the cockpit is very similar to any other jet fighter of the period. So up on the left, you've got altitude and attitude. And then below that, just below those black and yellow stripes, those are the arming buttons for the various weapons. And they've got a safety bar around them as well. In the middle, you've got the main navigation controls, and in particular, you've got that, which does the same job as a satellite navigation does. It's not satellite-based navigation, it's actually a moving map.
This is part of an old Lancaster bomber. This gives you an idea of what it's like inside. This is where the radio operator sat. Looking towards the rear, without a rubbish bin of course. The pilot's view. And that's it for the Brooklands Museum. You can spend all day here easily and should be added to your must-do list. In our next episode, we'll be leaving London and heading to Scotland to have a look around Edinburgh, drive along Loch Ness, and take a steam train ride to the Scottish Highlands.